With that massive Tartarus exposition done, we need to head back to the dorm. Once we do, it'll be Sunday. And this will be our first Sunday where we have full interactivity. So yeah, there'll be a few things to explain. Not much, because really you don't actually do much on Sundays. Of course, there's no school on Sundays, and we're still tired, but unfortunately that's really bad on a non-school day, because we can't do that one thing that we can do when we're tired to increase our courage. So, no school today. And the thing is, because there's no school, we can't hang out with any of our school social links, and the bookstore is closed on Sundays. So really, we don't have much to do today. Thankfully though, there is one thing we can do to occupy our time. We can actually just sleep in, and get better condition, but we're not going to do that, because that'll be a waste of the day. We can try watching TV, but there's nothing good on. The TV will be important on Sundays later, but not now. We can also check the desk to study, however, this will use up the entire day. So, don't do this now. I like this here. The mirror reflects your tired face. There are a couple of things that I want to show today. There's one very specific thing that we need to do, but first... So yeah, this is Junpei's room now. Nice to see they've actually put that detail in. We head downstairs. Actually, wait a second, something we need to do upstairs first. We have pretty much more than enough money to last this week. We need 9,900 yen for this week, and we have more than double that. So I think now, it's safe to buy this Mad Bull that we're going to need later. So let's get one. And that's a very long time it takes to pop out there. But we get a Mad Bull. You can actually use this to recover SP in Tartarus, but for now we want to hold on to it because it's going to be important for a later social link. Anyway, it's weird seeing this place in the daytime, but let's check this out. Let's see what Akihiko's doing. Everyone's in their casual clothes today because, well, there's no school. And they're in there, I believe they're in their winter casual clothes at this point. Akihiko's staying in because, of course, he's still injured. He needs to recover. What about Mitsuru? What's she doing today? We can either study or go out. And today we don't want to go out. What does she do, though? We're going to prefer to stay in eventually, but for now, we need to go out. Also, you might want to watch the TV on Sundays. It's actually quite amusing. Next time on Phoenix Ranger Featherman R. Episode 10. Instant Ramen Smorgasbord, Feather Swan! And now the news. Yeah, so this universe's version of the Power Rangers, Phoenix Rangers Featherman R, is on Sundays, and it can be quite amusing to see all the episodes. Now, if we go outside, it will automatically become nighttime when we get back to the dorm. Remember this because eventually we're going to get a social link that requires us to be in the dorm during the daytime, and if you go out, you ruin your chances of doing that link that day. So make sure you think very carefully before you head outside on Sundays. But today we have to go out until dark, because there's something in town we need to do. Firstly though, I want to check a few places. First place I want to check is, well, I guess I can just show what happens if you try and go to school. And we can't get in. So, yeah, no doing that. Unfortunately, we can't see the school nurse because we're tired. Which is good for increasing courage. But anyway, let's head on to Polonium Mall. There are a few things of interest here on Sundays. The pharmacy only has sales on Saturdays, but if we check here, hey, Yukari's here, and she's in her casual clothes too. Well, we're just wandering around. I've already pretty much explored the city that much, but there's one place that I haven't explored yet. I was pretty wrong about this place when I last mentioned it. Yeah, I actually got confused and mentioned the PSP version of this place. In FES, as you'll see, this place is actually an item shop. You can buy accessories here that'll help you fighting in Tartarus. Things like Spirit Ring, Life Ring, I wouldn't really waste money on these bands though. Only a 1 point increase in the stat, no thanks. But these two can be quite useful. For now, I'm just gonna keep holding on to my money. Reason why I didn't actually mention this place earlier is because on my first playthrough, I didn't even know this place existed at all. I never even went here. I assumed it was just some other place that you'd waste your day and not do a social link, so I avoided it like the plague. Yeah, the max social link run is really that restrictive. Anyway, just remember that that's there. Now, something that I should also point out, the quality of the accessories that are available here and the weapons and armor that are available at the police station depend on your character's level, so your main character's level, so you might want to bear that in mind. For now though, we also want to check out Iwatodai Station, and this isn't actually the main place we need to go today, but there are just a couple of things I want to check here. That part of the song I keep hearing is the taste of red meat. Yeah, there are a lot of misheard lyrics to these songs, and you can't unhear them once you've heard them. Anyway, if we check this bench here, hey, Junpei's here. Sup, Junpei? We're just wandering around. We'll get to know the place a little better. If we say nothing... Yeah, all that exercise in Tartarus, well, makes us tired. Now, we want to check... Oh, one of these guys. He's probably one of those... Yeah, he is. Yep, that's what we're fighting in Tartarus to stop. Now, we need to check out the Octopia. And this makes me think of Splatoon now. So we have a takoyaki cook here. Takoyaki is delicious, only 400 yen. But there's... Wait a minute. If there's no octopus in it, why is it called takoyaki? Taco means octopus. So it's just yaki. In other words, it's just fried. But this is an item that we will need for a later social link, and since we've got enough money, we're going to buy one now. We get weird takoyaki. Huh. Let's check it. Something other than octopus is inside. According to the Velvet Room residents, you don't even want to know what's inside weird takoyaki. But for the moment, we just need to remember that it's relevant to a later social link. Where we really need to go is Port Island Station. There's nobody at the shrines, let's not go there. Trust me, I checked on a practice run, there's nothing of interest there today. So here we are at Tatsumi Port Island Station, and what we need to do here is, we need to see a movie, because they're showing that Courage Marathon again. And this and the one on the 21st are two movies that it is absolutely vital that you see. Because if you want to max courage by the deadline, you need the increase in courage from these things. I believe that both these movies are altogether 10% of all you need to max your courage, so definitely a good boost, and that's why we needed a little bit extra yen this week. Of course, we have way more than a little bit of extra yen, but that's beside the point.
Where have you been?
Up, seeing some movies. I probably shouldn't say that. He can't really see movies now because he can't go out of the door. Now, Mitsuru will comment if you're tired, so she'll recommend that you don't go to Tartarus tonight. Yeah, you'll recover if you don't go to Tartarus for a few days, so going to Tartarus when you're tired is not a good idea. Akihako's going to tell you about special effects on equipment, so even if you have two identical pieces of equipment, the special effects on them could be different. This is important. You can get a wide variety of different special effects, and a lot of them are really useful. For heal and support, all I have to do is heal and support, right? Yeah, and I've heard that just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Also, people die when they are killed. There may be times when she isn't able to heal us, so don't get mad if that happens. Yeah, what she's basically saying is don't blame the bad AI if you die because of them. No, really, it's more like, you know, if she gets knocked down or if she's status, she won't really be able to heal you. So Junpei's persona Hermes is strong against fire. So it learns fire abilities, but Junpei's magic stat is not the best, so he's not really that great with them. Really, they're mostly useful for knocking down enemies and getting 1-mores. but he's weak against wind. Ironically, that's Yukari's element. Interesting implications there. Some of the characters' weaknesses are actually kind of amusing. They have interesting story justifications, especially Akihiko's. Yeah, I'll talk about that later. For now, though, it's an evening, and it's not a game arcade day, so we're gonna do what we always do and sing. Get used to taking this trip to Polonia Mall at night, because you're gonna be doing it a lot. Even after we've maxed out Courage. Going here in the evenings is going to be useful for maxing out Charm as well, so Polonia Mall, we're going to be spending a lot of our time here. So, let's pay 800 yen and see again. So we head back, and it's nighttime, and we're tired. We don't seem to be feeling well. Now, in a real-life situation, I'd advise you to go to bed early if this was the case. But we are deliberately trying to run ourselves ragged and be tired as much as possible. However, when you're tired, you often can't properly focus, and so you won't get an academics boost when studying. So, yeah, there's a lesson for all of you out there. Trying to study at midnight when you're really, really tired is just a waste of time, and it's just going to make you more tired for the next day, so you won't pay attention in class, so it's just going to hurt your academic performance overall. Except for Gary Stu, who magically just doesn't get tired the next day, and makes things a lot harder for me. Come on. Yeah, that's annoying. We're not tired anymore, and we really want to be while we're at school. If only Gary Stu was drowsy on Mondays. Special morning assembly. Yeah, his speech was pretty cool. Even if nobody understood it. Oh, wow, that's not good. That's some pretty bad inter-school politics there. So, who's looking forward to morning assembly? I didn't think so.
We'll now begin this morning's assembly.
We'll now begin this morning's assembly.
First, our principal has some words he'd like to share with you. Please give him a warm welcome.
Yay!
Thank you.
What's the deal with the assembly? You think it's about the recent incidents?
Not so sure about that.
Who cares? The principal doesn't know anything about the shadows anyway.
But everyone does know things about those people who are wandering the streets like zombies, their minds having been eaten by shadows.
I just hope this doesn't take too long.
I wouldn't get your hopes up, Junpei.
I know. His speeches always drag.
Today, I'd like to tell you about my vision for this school year.
My vision for this school year is less boring speeches.
As you are aware, strange incidents have been reported on the news lately.
Huh, so I guess Yukari was right.
It is my firm belief that none of you are involved.
Oh, right, because some of our students would totally go around stealing people's minds and making them brainless.
However, if we want to better our school, then we all need to accept responsibility for change.
Wait a minute, this is starting to sound familiar.
Dig deep down inside and tap into your imaginations. But don't lose touch with reality. As they say, there's no use crying over spilt milk.
That has nothing to do with what you just said.
This is the key to reaping all the rewards that school has to offer.
No, it doesn't. It makes no sense. And everyone falls asleep.
Wait a minute. Doesn't this remind you of Mitsuru Senpai's speech?
Yeah?
Yeah, you're right. What's up with that?
You know, if the school's principal has to plagiarize off a student, you know things have gone really far downhill. The administration should really do something about that. It's not a good sign for this school. Speaking of Mitsuru, she's here. Oh, she needs to talk to us after school. Don't get ideas, Gary Stu. Special request, huh? And that's going to give Gary Stu even more ideas. Gary Stu's like, dating Mitsuru after school? Got it. But we got class today. Oh, this doesn't bode well for the school either! Wow, really? I can relate to this. I had a terrible maths teacher once. So this school has a principal who plagiarizes off student speeches and a maths teacher who is terrible. Though this does make sense in a lot of ways. Gary Stu's getting called on specifically this time and not Junpei. Once again, a little Google can tell us the answer here. That would be, in this case, 6,000 years ago. This isn't strictly entirely true. The Sumerians had their own way of representing numbers, and they did invent arithmetic, but I mean, they didn't really invent the entire concept of numbers. Then, later Arabic numerals were invented. The concept of zero did exist before this, but it was never represented by an actual digit. So this was definitely a very crucial step forward in numbers. Maths is pretty awesome when it's not being taught by idiots. Well, certain parts of maths anyway. There are some parts of it that I still hate. The only part of maths I was ever good at was probability, which makes sense considering that I play a lot of games that involve calculations that do that. So, this is a special request. She wants Gary Stu to join the student council. I'm too lazy, I love that response. Thankfully, we don't really have to participate in everything. We can just come when we have time. But why him? Oh yeah, because Gary Stu is perfect in every way and thus is an ideal leader. She could use the additional help though, that's at least good. And we only had an opportunity to refuse, so let's just say yes. So we'll have to go to the faculty office to join the student council. We'll need to speak to Miss Toriumi. We just have to tell her that we're interested. So to do this, we'll need to go to the faculty office. Now, we do have a social link scheduled for today, but thankfully, signing up for student council at least doesn't take up any time. So we're actually going to have to do that, well, not have to, but it's recommended you do this now. Get this out of the way as soon as possible. Now, the student council room itself is right, that's a PA room, is right here. So yeah, we need to speak to Miss Toriumi to join. Don't suppose you have anything to say now that the principal ripped off your beloved senpai's speech. No, you still have the same thing to say. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take care of this because it will not use up the afternoon. Gary Stu was like, please be talking about me, please be talking about me, please be talking about me. So here's the faculty office. Hey, sexy teacher, what a— shut up, Gary Stu! So we need to ask her about the student council. And she's heard, so all we need to do is sign here. Thankfully, these documents weren't handed to us by a mysterious creepy boy. And we're now officially a member of the student council and have access to the room. But don't go in there just yet. Going into the student council room now will initiate the social link that's associated with it. We're not quite ready for this social link yet. We have something else to do today, so for now, we'll just... I just thought maybe I could check those... no, it's fine. For now, we'll just go ahead and do the social link that we had planned, which thankfully we can do over here. There are actually two ways to initiate the social link we'll be doing today. It's Chariot. You can either talk to Kaz in your classroom, or you can go straight down to where your team practices and go there. We're closer to the practice areas, so I'm just gonna go here. So, the gymnasium. Now, this is the first time we'll get this message. Since we have Aramitama, a persona of the Chariot Arcana, we can get along well with Kazushi. That means that we get a 1.5 times multiplier to the amount of points we get in the social link. Now, you don't actually have to have Aramitama now, it's for a meeting later this week that you need it, but it does help if you have it now. So let's go ahead and attend kendo practice. Kendotown High School Gymnasium. The kendo team is giving it everything they've got, in a generic cutscene that has nothing to do with the actual social link. But, well, here is the first part of the social link where our responses actually matter. Time to introduce you to the main theme of this social link. Now, as unhealthy as it sounds, at this point, Kaz likes it if you basically tell him to suck it up or toughen up every time he seems to be in pain. Yeah, this can be a little bit of a guide, dang it, but in this case, he likes it if you're hard on him. Different social link characters have different personalities. You kind of need to get to know their personality to realize what responses will probably work. Now, a lot of the social link characters have very obvious flaws to start out with, and will develop later, but before they've developed, you generally need to agree with pretty much everything they do, regardless of how unhealthy it seems. Yeah, tell me about it, he doesn't even look tired, I wish he was. And I'm going to answer the usual training, because Gary Stu doing the usual and still being better than everyone makes perfect sense with him being perfect in every way. Also, this is an option where neither of the options give you any points at all, so it doesn't matter which you answer. Yes, he is. We have become Kazushi's rival. That counts as a stronger relationship, and because of that, the mysterious voice is back. We are now rank 2 in the Chariot Arcana. And this is another point where what you say doesn't actually matter, so I'm going to be nice here and ask what's wrong. Twisted his knee, huh? Maybe he should take a little break like Akihiko is. So with that done, we're back to the dorm. Or are we? After rank 2 of the Chariot link, we can get this scene. Remember how I mentioned earlier that some social links will introduce you to others? This is one of those times. Yuko is here, and we should talk to her. Now, you need to say, "Wanna walk home together." Huh. Well, she brushed us off pretty quickly. Now, even though that looks like it didn't do anything, it actually did. asking her to go home together is a prerequisite to initiating her link later, so be sure that you do that. Now we get to go back to the door.
Sup, dude?
Yeah, thankfully you don't have too many responsibilities. Yeah, I don't think Junpei's going to be interested. Let's see if she has anything to say. Yeah, she could certainly use the help. Yeah, don't think you have time for that. And we will get something out of this, so it's a good thing we were forced to join. Yeah, Yukari is too busy with the archery club. Huh. Yeah, there's still something going on with Mitsuru that we haven't been told yet. Let's check the TV. Exchange rate. Interesting. Well, when I live in Australia, so I usually just hear bad news about exchange rates. Current exchange rate in this game at this moment in 2009 is $1 to 115 yen. I actually went and looked up what the exchange rate is now, and it's around $1 to 121-ish yen at the time of recording this video, so either the US dollar is doing better or the yen is doing worse. I'd say maybe yen is doing worse, because I haven't heard good things about the US economy lately. Of course, the Australian dollar is still doing worse. It's been plummeting ever since 2012, which makes import gaming really, really hard for me, even though stuff in America is actually cheaper than here. Speaking of exchange rates, I have a true story to tell. Back when I last went on a trip to Japan, the exchange rate was $1 Australian to around 100 yen, so it was actually quite good, and we converted all of our money then, and then we went over. While we were over there, the global financial crisis hit, and the exchange rate just suddenly crashed. So we avoided the worst of it because we'd converted all of our travel money already. Except the times we had to use credit cards and were suddenly like, why is the exchange rate so bad? Just a weird story there. So, it's evening, it's not a Tuesday or a Friday, you know what that means, it's more karaoke time. But we should save before that. Okay, now that we've saved, we do what we always do. I might eventually just speed these trips up, because, yeah, we're going to be doing this a lot. Until courage is max, basically. Guess I could take this time to mention that tomorrow is the day that we actually need not Aramitama, that we actually need Nekomata by. Without Nekomata, we would not get enough points from the next conversation to actually rank up the Magician social link, so we need a matching persona. Thankfully, we have one. And we're going to study again. Please get tired so I can actually show what to do when that happens. Aha! There we go! Finally! Finally, I can show what I wanted to show. In fact, I'm so glad that I got tired now, because if I got tired tomorrow night, the next day is a public holiday and we wouldn't be able to go to school, so finally!